Hello students, this is your tutorial on how to draw doors and windows properly for Architecture 1. As you can see here real quick, I have a 14-foot by 15-foot box, and it's going to serve as the interior walls of my room. I still have to create the exterior lines so I can represent the actual thickness of my walls, which I will do here. And then I'll go over putting in some windows and doors for you the correct way, so you get the idea and yours doesn't look sloppy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually offset some distances. The left and the top of my box are actually outside walls, so I'm going to offset them 6.5 inches. And then I'm going to go ahead and offset the other walls because they're interior to 4.5 inches. And then finally, I'm going to close the corners of my walls using the fillet tool with a radius of 0, 0. So I just select my 2. Instead of when you got fillet here, if you create one fillet, it's going to automatically close out after you complete that fillet. If you want to do multiple fillets, after you've selected the fillet and you change your radius to 0, 0, you can type M for multiple. And in that case, you can just go ahead and select all your corners and your fillet will actually not close out. Alright, so now I have my 14 by 15 foot master bedroom. Some of you might have completed your brothers, your sisters, your parents' bedrooms. And now we're going to go ahead and put a door in. So down in the lower right hand corner, right here is where I actually have my first door. And from the inside of the wall to the center of my door is actually 2 feet. And then my door is 2 feet 8 inches wide. So show you a real quick way how to do this. There's different ways you can do this. If you measure to the side of a door or the other side, it could be a little bit easier, but I measured to the center. So I'm actually going to use the offset tool, and I'm actually going to offset 2 feet. And I'm going to offset the center of my wall 2 feet up. I'm going to then extend, he's the bigger brother or little brother of trim, and I'm going to extend my line through my wall. I'm going to go ahead and trim my wall. So now I have this line that's in the center. Now my door is 2 feet 8 and I'm right in the center of it, so I've split it. So what I have to do is I have to offset to both sides half of my 2 foot 8, which is 1 foot 4 inches. So I'm going to offset 1 foot 4 inches to either side. And now I have the outer extremes of my door. I can actually delete that center line, and I'm going to go ahead and trim out my door opening. And there's my door opening. Now I'm going to go ahead and actually draw my door. So I have another layer for that. Remember we put that, we made it blue just to kind of distinguish itself. And we're going to draw a line here. And we're going to draw a line from the hinged area to the other side of the door. And so you can see it goes from the hinged area, and that's the inside, and it's going to swing to the left as we look at it. So now I'm going to go ahead and rotate. So I can just type in rotate or select rotate in my modify panel. Once I have that, I'm going to select the object I want to rotate. I'm done selecting, so I can either hit enter on the keyboard or I can right click. Then I'm going to go to where the hinge of my door is. Where are those door hinges? Because that's where we want to rotate it about. So I click there, and then I'm just going to go ahead and rotate it. As you can see here, I have polar tracking set at 45. So I'm actually going to rotate this 45 using my cursor, and it goes in 45. Now you can mess around with that and go a little bit lower, or I would say a little bit more degrees or less degrees. It's up to you. Now that I have my door, I'm actually going to make my swing for it. So I'm going to grab my center radius circle, and I'm going to go from the hinged area all the way to the end of my door. Now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and trim out everything I don't need. So I can just type in trim, right click anywhere, and I'm going to just kind of trim out what I don't need. I have my door, I have my swing, and then one last thing you can do is just kind of grab and extend your, if you click on the arc and you kind of drag it, you can kind of just extend it a little bit. So it gives that little arc extension there. It kind of makes it look a little bit more professional. It says that it can swing farther open, and that line kind of makes it look like it's not something else in case people get confused. So there's a door right there. And now finally I'm going to go ahead and actually put in a window. Window is kind of the same way in here. So what I'm going to do is go back to my walls layer because I want to put in the outer extremes of my window here. And the first thing that I see here is that I've got on mine, I got a pretty long window here. So it looks like this window is about 12 feet, I would say. Yeah, about 12 feet. So just taking a look at the one that I turned out to you guys so you can look. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to offset. And I'm actually going to go half of that, 6 feet. Actually, you know what? I have to offset in the middle of my wall. So my wall is actually 15 feet. So I want my window to be centered here. So instead of offsetting 6 feet, I have to offset half of 15 feet, which is 7 feet 6 inches. So I want it to be in the center. And remember, I'm dimensioning everything by the center here. So I'm just going to go ahead and offset the inside wall. I'm going to extend, and I'm going to trim. And now I'm going to go ahead and offset my 6 feet to each side. Make sure you're using your right apostrophes versus quotations so you don't get 6 inches like I almost did there. Alright, so now I have an area of where my actual window is going to be. So now what I can do is actually, I'm going to go ahead and draw in my window. For my first window is actually, it's a 3-foot double hung, followed by a 6-foot window in the center, a fixed window, and then a 3-foot double hung on the end. So to go over this, I'm actually going to go ahead again and offset 3 feet for each of my side double hung windows. Sometimes the snap grabs it, puts it in the wrong area. Just undo that, put it to the right area. Now I'm going to go to my doors and windows, and I'm going to draw some rectangles. So I've got my start and my end of each window. So there's one, there's 2, and there's 3. For a fixed window, they're actually extremely easy. You just draw a line from midpoint to the midpoint of the other side. So there's my fixed window. And then how we draw a double hung window is we like to show 2 rectangles inside of the overall rectangle. That's kind of looking down at the double hung, and each one swings back and forth. So once again, I am actually going to go ahead and draw from center to center, or midpoint to midpoint. And then I'm going to offset about 1 inch to each side, and that's going to give us those 2 rectangles that we see there. It looks like these lines went a little bit farther than they needed to, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim those up. There we go. So now I have my 2 3-foot double hung windows on the side, followed by a fixed window in the center, and then in the bottom right hand corner I have a door that swings in to the left, and that is a 2-foot 8-inch door. So that's how we are going to properly draw doors and windows in ARCHI 1. Thank you.